Welcome to the UCLA Anderson Drive Time podcast. My name is Dylan Stafford. I'm an assistant dean here at UCLA Anderson. Today, I get to interview Ryan Alimo, Ph.D. in computational science, and also UCLA Anderson class of 23. I was thinking about, Ryan and I have talked a couple times the last weeks getting ready, and I was thinking of a Dean's Distinguished Speaker Series interview a couple years ago where Dean Judy Olin, our former dean, interviewed Martine Rothblatt. And if you don't know Martine's story, Martine is a triple Bruin, undergraduate, law degree, MBA, and she is the founder of Sirius XM Satellite Radio and United Therapeutics. And when Judy interviewed Martine, Judy said, "You know, interviewing Martine makes me feel like a little crumb." So Ryan, getting ready to interview you has made me feel like a little crumb, and that's good. And why is it good? Because when we feel small, it also gives us permission to dream big. And I really want this interview to leave people inspired, right? I am inspired getting to know Ryan, and we only have this short time together, so we can't fully cover Ryan's incredible life, but we've got three things we want to cover. His actual life journey from being born in Tehran to Los Angeles in the United States and to Mars, as his work with NASA and JPL. So number one, we want to share Ryan's journey. Number two, we want to tell you about Opal AI Inc. Ryan's the company he has founded and that he is leading forward right now, and their amazing product, Scan to 3D. And thirdly, we want to encourage a next generation of AI and MBA and entrepreneur and startup. So welcome, Ryan. Thank you for letting me have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Dylan. It's a great pleasure to be here and to be part of, the Anderson family. It's wonderful. And I'm a big fan of your podcast. And in fact, that results into, motivated me to come and join FEMBA. I listened to several of your podcasts before.
Well, yeah, you told me our Diego Benitez, who is our incredible entrepreneur and founder of Progress Brewing, who also has a PhD in organic chemistry from Caltech. So that interview helped you come to UCLA, right?
Partially, yes. That was very, between choosing where to go. So that helped me a lot.
Well, I love it. That makes it all worthwhile. Well, I'm going to just kind of in honor of the breadth of your life, I want to further introduce you so that people who watch this in the future have even a deeper sense of who you are, and then we'll go deeper. So I'm going to just read a few notes from Ryan's biography to further introduce you today. So from your biography, I hope my journey can motivate the young generations to believe in themselves and reach for their dreams. I remember watching the Mars rover landing in 2004 with my father in Tehran, and my father asked me, "Can I see you one day at NASA landing a Mars rover?" And that dream came true for you with the Perseverance rover landing on Mars. So Ryan Alimo was born in Tehran and is an Iranian-American machine learning scientist and entrepreneur. And since Ryan was a child, he's been curious and amazed by the beauty of the universe and the deep sky. He earned a Bachelor of Science at Sharif University of Technology and graduated with honors, and afterwards emigrated to the United States and received both his Master of Science and PhD from the University of California, San Diego in computational science. After that, he joined Caltech's Center for Autonomous Systems and Technology, CAST, as a postdoc scholar to work on multi-agent intelligent systems and swarm autonomy. Since 2018, Ryan has been working as a machine learning scientist at NASA JPL's Deep Learning Group. And in 2020, NASA sponsored Ryan to pursue an MBA at UCLA Anderson with FEMBA to potentially lead future space exploration missions, such as human Mars exploration. Outside NASA, Ryan is an entrepreneur and philanthropist. He's the founder and CEO of Opal AI Inc., which we're going to talk about a lot today, a pre-seed stage AI startup here in Los Angeles that develops an AI-enabled mobile app named Scan to 3D. As a principal investigator at Opal AI, Ryan was awarded the National Science Foundation, NSF, Small Business Innovation Research Grant, the SBIR grant, one of the most prestigious grants that any tech startup can receive. Furthermore, Ryan is a partner at Alimo LLC, a real estate equity firm. And at the end, we might tell people about your Airbnb.
Yeah,
he's got a great Airbnb near UCLA. He was also a nominee for Forbes 30 Under 30 in Science Magazine in 2020. Ryan's passionate about emerging technologies, including AI and blockchain. And I want his story to inspire you to dream big. He has so far with Opal AI hired 6 Anderson MBAs to help launch his company, 4 full-time MBAs, 1 executive MBA, and 1 FEMBA. And for everybody watching this, he's also in your UCLA network. So Ryan, I just wanted to double introduce you today to make sure people get a sense of your story. So, okay, I'm starting to not be so nervous. I've been looking forward to this, Ryan, but I've also been like, I don't know how to tell his story. I feel like a little crumb.
yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, one thing that I always, we can hear lots of success, but there are lots of failures as well. And I remember the Elon Musk, quote that failure is an option here. If you're not failing, you're not innovating enough. And that was one of the mottos of my life. And we hear lots of success, but at the same time, there are lots of challenges to get there, and it is important to be consistent and not give up.
Well, we promised people 3 stories. So let's start with your story. And I think that's the perfect segue. Tell us about, elementary school. And you had a teacher who had a certain point of view about your aptitude for learning. So take us all the way back. And let's go all the way back to Tehran when you were a young child in the 90s, and you had a teacher who said, you're not very smart, something like that. Isn't that how it went?
Yeah, that was true. In fact, I was not a good student. I was the last rank in our, not only, like the whole class of that year. So that's why I was not any teacher's favorite, because whichever class I was, the rank for that class would be lower because my scores were not good enough.
Oh no.
And yeah, my 3rd grade teacher, in fact, was so frustrated and took me to the board and said that, guys, if you don't study, your future is going to be like Ryan, uneducated, poor, and unsuccessful. So you have to study. And again, I have, I had that motto again in life, say that be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. So I was having a happy moment of my life, without knowing what's going to happen in the future. And so we cannot judge people based on their status right now. And that was pretty exciting to see what happened. Even when I go back and see what happened, it's quite impressive that how God or life changed the path and put right people in front of me to get where I am. In fact, it is important to see who in your life are, and I'm very thankful of my friends, family, the people that were in this journey, and also including you right now. So that's another good thing that happened.
Well, I'm grateful to be a small part of a world of people who've listened for you to be all you can be. One of the things I love about your story is how multifaceted you are as a human, curious and hardworking. And so you had a 3rd grade teacher who said, don't be like Ryan. Obviously that didn't slow you down. So you said you have a happy point of view. How did high school go, and how did college go? And then how did you know to come to America? So how did all that open up for you?
So one element that is important in life is curiosity and passion. So the good habit that I have, when I'm passionate about something, I love it, I do it, and I don't give up. So although I was not good in many other different fields, I was passionate about space and astronomy. So that led me to participate in one competition, which is not very common competition. You need to be very well trained, very hardworking to enter that competition. And at that time, I was just playing PlayStation. I was into gaming and not really studying. But one of the teachers in junior high school in Tehran saw that I have this passion about Mars, and I have this passion about space. So then I went to a local observatory, so in Tehran, and studied amateur astronomy. And in fact, one of the photos that was taken from me watching the stars became the photo of NASA astronomy photo. And I was 13. And I was watching observing the Mars with my telescope in Tehran. And that dream, that maybe I can go to Mars, right? Maybe one day we all can be Martians. In fact, I read an article saying that many of us are Martians, because we found some evidences in South Pole that there were life on Mars, and life came from Mars. So that inspired me, and I participated in astronomy Olympiad and became the first rank out of 256,000 participants. And as the youngest in that year, and that enabled me to go to Sharif University, which is something really hard. If you want to go to Sharif, you need to be top 1% or top 0.01%, sorry, top 0.01% from 1 million participants, which is really hard to get in. And I was lucky, and I finished my high school after that, like 1 year early, and went to college, and very inspired about coming to NASA. And that statement that my father mentioned, can I see you one day on Mars? Sorry, at JPL, working with these people, and that was one of the motivation I had. And so first I came to USC and worked on how we can colonize the moon, so how we can build structures on the moon. And that was with one of the professors at USC, Khoshnevis. And after that, I started my PhD at UC San Diego. However, that was not a success yet, because I got kicked out 2 times from different advisors, saying that I'm not good enough for the PhD program, and maybe I need to go and find a job. But that I knew that if I wanted to come to NASA and if I want to achieve my goal, I have to get my PhD. So I didn't give up. And and as a matter of fact, I became I got awarded the Best Student Award in 2017, and finished my master and PhD in 4.5 years with my third advisor, Professor Bewley. He's like a father to me, an academic father. And I learned, from the past 2 experiences, how to do the job fast, because I had 2 failures. I didn't have time, so I tried to be very efficient, and I'm glad that I got, I was able to become, again, another success story at UCSD.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so the journey to JPL and Mars was, after I got my PhD, I interviewed many places, because my PhD work was very unique. So we created a new sets of algorithms, like an optimization algorithm that can learn the black box system. So if you have a black box system that you don't know what it is, it can learn what is inside it, and it can optimizes the system. So that has applications in different fields, from which was used in cardiovascular surgery. It was used in finance. It was used in hydrofoil design. and for space applications too. And I got many different offers and different interviews from hedge funds, Wall Street to Silicon Valley, but I chose to go to Caltech, which had much lower salary compared to other ones. But because of that dream, I wanted to pursue. I went to Caltech, and the new center, which is called Center for Autonomous Systems and Technologies, was a new center, and that was focusing on how we can build technologies that are going to affect our lives, such as flying ambulance, flying cars, and some like robots that are going to work with human and human AI teaming. And in fact, one of our works got featured in TV and other places, that the robot Cassie was walking in the arena, and then our drones were following that robot, the Cassie, in the cast arena. And when I was there, suddenly I was approached by one of the lead people at NASA, at JPL, and they said that we want to hire you and you need to join our team next week. I was happy. I said, yeah, why not? That's where I am. I'm very excited about that. And also, yeah, again, it was not just one person. So I owe this to my academic father, Professor Bewley. I owe that to my mentor, Dr. Naderi, many people in my family and my friends, great friends that I had, and they were part of the journey that I was. And over there, there is a terminology called entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur is like what we do. Intrapreneur is being entrepreneur inside a big organization, and I try to be intrapreneur. And I had more than 30 students, working under my supervision. We work on different exciting technologies, from PhD students to the undergrads, and we build technologies for spacecraft formation flying, and also for the Mars rover. And a couple of my work was featured in technology highlights of NASA, in 2018, 2019, 2020, and I got different awards for it. So that was very an excellent experience, and I learned one thing, that at JPL everything is doable. It's just a matter of engineering and persistency and putting enough time.
Wow.
And so yeah, and the meanwhile, my sister saw these things, and she mentioned that, Ryan, you're doing lots of complex work, and I'm an architect. She's an architect. Can you just build a mobile app that I can take a video, and that video converts to a digital twin of the house and creates a floor plan of the building? And I accepted the challenge. Said, yeah, I'm doing this thing for the society. Like, I'm building these technologies for NASA. Maybe I can do something for my sister, right? Or people like her. And we did some, we started building that technology, and I'm very excited to in Opal AI, and more than maybe a lot of people work on it in the past 3 years.
Well, let me pause for a second just to give you a chance to catch your breath. So I appreciate the people who are joining us now. We're thrilled to have you with this live interview, and I want to give you in a few minutes some time to ask questions. Earlier, I said I really wanted to offer 3 different parts of Ryan's story. We've kind of gone from his upbringing in Tehran to his PhD from UCSD, and starting at NASA and JPL, and who, by the way, are sent him to UCLA Anderson to earn his FEMBA degree. So that was sort of the first third. The second third, I really want to now pivot to Opal AI, which was just mentioned. His startup, which he received an NSF grant for, a very competitive grant. that he's very much bootstrapped and financed on his own so far, pre-seed, and even with scrappy means has been able to hire 6 different UCLA Anderson MBAs, 4 full-time, 1 executive, and 1 fully employed MBA. So, so why don't we pivot now and tell us, so your sister is an architect and your sister's watching you do all this incredible computational analysis to solve black box problems in space and in finance, and you turned down a bunch of fancy job offers to go do financial engineering. I'm sure you'd be excellent at that. And instead you aim at this childhood dream of NASA and JPL and the incredible reach of Mars. You know, how could we ever send a human to Mars if it takes 6 months just to get there? And then you have to wait 2 years before you can send a person back. It's a 3-year minimum. And you said, what, you need a safety net. So you need to be able to maintain a human for 6 years just to have some contingency, to even have an astronaut be willing to say yes. So that was all that, but that's just not enough for Mr. Ryan. In parallel, you're saying, oh, my sister has a problem. My sister's an architect. Oh, what could I do? Oh, I'll create an entire company. Okay, so your story is so hard to tell. Okay, so the first third we've talked about your education, NASA, and JPL. So now for the middle third, let's talk about this startup that you've created, Opal AI Inc. So maybe just take us through from your sister or whatever you consider the genesis. Help us understand, what is Opal AI Inc. and where is it going?
Absolutely. And first, I need to thank, NASA and JPL and even the US that has this brings this opportunity to us to dream big. The mentality that I had that I can build anything, like building a company or building a product for my sister, came from my training at NASA. So there are 2 types of people at NASA. One type of people are called scientists, who want to do the science. They're excited about some measurements, somewhere on Mars or on another planet, another part of the world, on an asteroid, and they call technologists, which is us, to build that technology and make their dreams come true. So that mentality came from JPL, that okay, if someone has a dream, I can make it come true, and we did it multiple times. The biggest example was the Perseverance, which was a dream for many people, or flying on Mars was a dream for the scientists, or going to a specific part of the Mars. And the technologists were able to make that happen and send a rover that is the size of an SUV, million miles, to another part of the universe or solar system, and then put that safely on Mars, and then make the measurements. And then the next step is bringing those measurements back to Earth. This is all looking science fiction, at least to many of us. It looks science fiction that, wow, like that, can we do that as the people that are on Earth? And then I always remember this statement by John F. Kennedy that says, we choose to go to the moon in this decade and to do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yeah.
And this autonomous floor plan creation has been a dream of many companies. I thought that it's going to be easy problem when I started the work, but when I did research and started interviewing and talking to people that are in this field, I understood that that's a really problem, very complex problem. Companies as big as Mama, like the big companies that we know, the tech companies are working on it, and they were not able to successfully build this technology. So the concept of, okay, we are the innovators, we can build it, that came. So this is a floor plan that you see, that is the outcome of our product, Scan to 3D app. I think there is another video that shows the how you can just easily capture so if you play this video, you can see that this is our app, and you can just with a click of button, you can start recording. If that doesn't play, I may have one version here.
Yeah, I don't know if my computer will let me play it. What am I? Where would I click to make it play? Just in the middle?
Yes, that should be it. So that needs to be.
Okay, it may not have come across.
That's fine. So I can quickly show that if that works here. So what you can see right now, if I make it bigger, so this is the mobile app that you can see. So do you see this screen?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, so you just click on the the video is going to be played, and what you can see that this is our office. That is, we are capturing the different parts of the room, and the areas that are red, it's not captured, and we create a digital twin of space, and everything is going to be modeled in 3D. So once this is modeled in 3D, what the architects and design professionals want is a floor plan, a measured drawing or as-built drawing, and currently that's very costly, and in the US it is surprising. A work as simple as taking a measurement and drawing it is going to cost more than $1,200. That's insane to have. Talking about going to Mars, talking about self-driving cars, and not being able to do such a simple job as automating this work.
And
So
Ryan, can I just tell people the story? So I don't know, a month ago, we had a lunch up at school, and Ryan and I were talking out on the Alumni Plaza while everybody's getting their Hawaiian food for lunch. And Ryan just pulls out his phone and says, Dylan, can I just show you what we're doing? And he scanned the entire environment. That was great. It rendered a footprint. And he said, how about this? I can take you over to the library. And he showed me an earlier iteration. And he's there with a couple of his FEMBA friends with whom they're all working. And, and it was blowing my mind. I went from thinking about what Hawaiian food am I about to get to I had 5 different thoughts of possible ways that this incredible technology could be monetized, problems that this could solve. And, we're about halfway through our interview here, and I want to give people who are listening a chance to ask questions in just a few minutes. But like, why would a person ever get an MBA who already has a PhD in computational science? Well, I loved how you distinguished that at NASA, we have 2 kinds of people. We have scientists who kind of dream it, and then we have technologists who can actually make it real. And just to go back, I want to share screen again just for a second. I know we're telling 2 stories at the same time. These are pictures from Opal AI and the work that Ryan is doing with his startup. But this is what we're talking about happening on Mars, 6 months journey from here. And this is what it looks like in the garage. So if you can imagine, what it's like, you drive your car for a month or 6 months and you have to take it to the shop to get it tuned up. So, Ryan's team is building something here that we're going to mail to another planet 6 months away. And then when it lands there, it's going to work.
Well, yeah,
so that's half of
that, yeah.
That's half your life.
Thousands of people's job, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't mean to put it all on you. I mean to say that's, but an entrepreneur has to be able to dream as ridiculously big as you're able to dream, and as scientists and technologists, and to understand who's good at what, and to divide and divide the tasks and put together a plan and budget it and maintain the public will to do it so that we have the funding to undergird it. So all of that training in the science half of your life, now with Opal AI, you move forward into your career and you think, well, what can we do with a cell phone? And what would a professional like my sister, who's an architect, what would she need? Oh, they have this very laborious, expensive process of getting the fundamental floor plan. oh, I can envision the video we just saw, a way to solve that problem. Oh my goodness, what are the applications of that? And now I'm here at UCLA with a lot of resources, the business creation option, my classmates, my faculty. And what I love about you, Ryan, is your humility to bring your ridiculous accomplishment. Because if you just wanted to feel proud all day, you could just hang out over in Pasadena for the next 20 years and live in the science and technology world of Caltech and the Mars and Perseverance. And that would be a very full and satisfying life that you've worked very hard on 2 different countries with 3 different degrees to have the ability to do. But you haven't stopped there. You said, well, let me go get a 4th degree. Let me get an MBA and let me start my own company. And I want to, your story is so complicated. I want to say it a couple different ways such that people can really have a sense of being in their journey with you. And yeah. So back to you. And we'll get ready in a couple minutes here. I want to open it up for questions. So either from what we've heard here, or if you looked up Ryan on LinkedIn or any of the links that I sent, we'll start to open it up for questions. But anything else, Ryan, you'd want people to know about Opal AI and where you want it to go next and kind of what your next challenges are?
Yes, thank you so much for all the kind, story that you mentioned. One of the things that we are excited about is digital twin that you also mentioned. So we are in the beginning of, the 4th technological revolution, and that is more connectivity, right? So in the past, we saw that internet connected us, and we are able to be in Zoom and talk to each other. The next version is going to be, in fact, seeing each other in 3D and in a virtual place. It can be on Mars. All of these people in the chat, in the room, we can go on Mars and have that discussion over there. Or we can go to another, like UCLA Anderson, and communicate with each other. And that's the 4th technological revolution. Just imagine what is going to look like if we were able to be in Ukraine right now, right, Kiev, and see what is happening there. Or imagine that you were in Oscar this year and you saw, many of the things, Will Smith, that what happens, and saw it as an entertainment, So this is happening as we speak. And that is the next technological revolution, and we're happy to be part of that. And we're trying to target, prop tech, property technology, and very small part of the prop tech, but big things, start small, and we're starting small to solve this problem, and that is becoming true thanks to, again, lots of other technological revolution that our country is enabling us. We see that the big techs are creating these innovative hardware and innovative technologies that some people like us can have it as an off the shelf and try to use it like Apple and see what we can do. Like Apple put LiDAR sensor, which is very expensive on the smartphones. And now we see that opens door to new applications and new customer segments and new industries. Or NSF. Like I was looking for funding for NSF and asking people, kind of begging people to fund this idea. And I put more than 300,000 of my own money and friends and family in this. And I was in the stage that I cannot do more. And NSF comes in and says, we trust you. Here you go, $256,000. Go ahead and build this technology. And if you do that in a good way, we're going to give you another $1 million. That happens only in the US. And I'm really proud to be an American and also, to be this country. Like I'm Iranian American, right? But it's a very exciting, my ethnicity is Iranian American, but that's a very exciting moment in the history of humanity to be, present and see how the technology is growing and how we are living in the near future.
Well, I am also proud to be an American. This is a 250 plus year experiment in human beings organizing themselves such that we can have different points of view and still get along. And we have this rich educational network and these overlays between industry and science and research. And it allows us to have these kinds of resource sharing. We have ideas over here, we have capital over here, we have government over here, and we can get those circles overlapping and you get results like your NSF grant. So I think I just saw a first person come on camera. So Berggren, would you like to ask a question? I saw you there for a second. I think we can pivot now. And I just, I'd love, quick introduction. Let us know who you are. And then, what would you like to ask Ryan?
Hey, Dylan Stafford. Yeah, thanks for having me. So my name is Berggren Antel. I'm a FEMBA admit, so excited to come in. Kind of similar to Ryan's background, I've been in the semiconductor industry doing a little bit of plasma physics and releasing these new chip chambers to Taiwan. But I'm excited at kind of the new technologies that are out there and some of the incubators at Anderson. So my question for Ryan was, what was your thought in terms of like taking your quant background and turning it into management? And then also some of the quantitative finance courses, like what did you find interesting?
So one thing that is really useful that you can consider is when you have a company, you find every single course or every single lecture relevant to your work. And I found it that way. I was learning way more than any other topics during this time. And part of that was, coming from the technologies perspective, I came from, completely a tech, and even was not familiar with how the stocks work, what is the bond? I didn't know about any of these things. And what is the law, right? Like IP, how important is an IP or trademark? We should do the trademark or copyright. So all of these became really useful and handy. And it was a great experience for me. And I'm sure for many people that have a similar background.
And, just to piggyback on Berggren's question, we didn't really mention either the NAP venture competition, which you just found out yesterday you're a finalist for, or even business creation option, just because we do have several students who are entering the program with us. Part of the challenge of UCLA is to just learn all the jargon, because we have many, many, many acronyms for all the different programming options. But Ryan, could you maybe just put a little quick overview on what's the NAP venture competition? Why did you participate in that? And then maybe business creation option?
Yes. So NAP competition is a very competitive competition that happens at UCLA Anderson, and close to hundreds of teams participate. And there are three phases. Phase one is review of the materials. And 2 to 3 people are going to review the business model. And after that, there's a competition in front of judges, and some of these people are venture capitalists. And out of that, like maybe 25 teams, we're going to have 5 teams that are going to represent the most innovative ideas that are coming out from UCLA, we can say, and UCLA Anderson this year, and the judges are going to be there on May 18th, and that is and we are presenting at 6 p.m. and people are judged. I think some audiences are going to vote as well as the venture capital, and the first team is going to get like $40,000 in the form of a grant. So that enables some teams like us to fund ourselves, and especially in this situation that we don't have lots of sales, and we are building something revolutionary, and but at the same time, when you are dreaming big, your challenges are big too. And for the BCO also is a good option that you can get help from other Anderson people that are excited about technology, but not necessarily very involved in startup, and they can learn the journey. They can see how small startup or small team or an idea can get big and become a multi-billion-dollar company one day.
And let me make sure I'm even clear, because my notes weren't, I can't read my writing. Are you doing business creation option, or have you?
Yes.
Yeah. And is it for Opal AI Inc. or is it for, okay, so so business creation option, just for everybody learning and, oh my gosh, I'm admitted, but now what comes next? Bergeron, a year and a half from now, when it's time to choose your capstone experience, you can either pursue the Global Access Program, where you are on a team consulting with an international high-tech, early stage, high growth company, or the business creation option. You also create a team, and it's about launching something, either your product or an already existing company like Ryan's, or launching on your own. So two different pathways that you get to explore in the second half of your program.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I like that you get experience to the venture side of things and have to put together a deck. So that's something I'm eager to learn, to take a swing at least.
Thanks for the question. And I'm not going to say it right. Is it Larissa or Larisa?
You got it the first time, Larissa.
Larissa, hi. Hi.
Hi.
What's your question for Ryan?
Quick question for Ryan. Hi, I'm Larissa. I'm a FEMBA class of 2024. And so I was curious about this scan to 3D technology. So I was a civil engineer for about 5 years. And I know for a fact, civil engineers, architects, and contractors alike would absolutely love to utilize this technology. But I was curious to know if it's also marketed towards the individual consumer. So, someone at home trying to take on a DIY home project, or is it more so for design professionals?
That's a perfect question. And so far we considered, we are targeting different phases and launching different phases. At this time, we are targeting construction and architecture as B2B. But later we consider, when we have more customers and larger customer pool, we can consider B2B, B2B to C, or eventually maybe B2C. But at this time it's B2B, business to business.
Gotcha. Very cool stuff.
Thank you so much. And the app is there. You can, the technology we are building. So that's you can maybe come up with new applications with it, right? And build on the top of it. So that's another opportunity, that if you think there something exists, so we can partner with different companies and license our technology.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be taking a look, deep dive later. But thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for the excellent question.
And I'll put in the chat, I'll put the link to the App Store. So yeah, because Larissa, you can download it today and put it on your phone. Is that accurate, Ryan?
Yes, and that's Anderson, Anderson building that you see the scan, if it is familiar to you.
Oh,
yeah, so that's Anderson.
And the picture in the middle, that's one of the, is it either the C or the D building, I think. I can't recognize the artwork.
And if you like it, please give us 5-star review, because these reviews really matter and helps us to bring us in a higher in the search. So if you love it, please write a review or give us 5-star review for the app. It's an amazing app, and we have done, and we're gonna have different releases. So the next release, you just scan your house and order a CAD model, like an AutoCAD, Revit model, SketchUp, and in a few hours, we're gonna give you that CAD model, and it's gonna save you thousands of dollars and hundreds of, or dozens of hours of work.
And Larissa, from your inquiry, I also, when Ryan and I were talking at lunch a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I, just the home weekend, Home Depot warrior, do-it-yourself project. I got so excited watching him scan Briskin Plaza and then render, here's Briskin Plaza. It just blew my mind what I was witnessing. And then he'd already rendered the Powell Library earlier that day and was able to give me a virtual tour. And I thought about firefighters, emergency situations, where if you could render an accurate representation of a crisis situation back to, partners who were not on site, how you could support first responders. I mean, it's just so exciting. It really, really got my juices flowing. And then, and then there's the business side of it, is how to map out a market, how to articulate phases, and Ryan right now is, doing this the bootstrap way during the research phase. But, how long do you want to do it that way? When would you invite in capital? When do you want to have a product? Those are all the MBA level questions that go along with the technology questions.
Yes, and those are important decisions, that we need to make, and anyone needs to make. Sometimes you don't need to raise capital, especially in the beginning, because you may lose the company, or you may lose the majority of the shares in the company. But you should not also raise too late, because in that situation, then you are desperate, and it's going to be maybe hard to get the best deal. And right now we are in between, so we are looking for funding, but we are not in need for funding. But yeah, so we are considering doing that. One good thing that even the good culture that in Silicon Valley exists is something called SAFE, which is a simple agreement for future equity, which anyone like angel investors can invest through SAFE agreement. And what it means that they buy the future stock of a company, a private company, but they buy it in a discounted rate. It can be 15 to 20%, and discounted rate with respect to the first valuation of the company, or the cap valuation. And that cap valuation is going to be determined when a venture capital in Series A or seed round, depending on how much they're going to invest, they debate that what is the value of the company pre-investment and post-investment. And based on that, whoever had the SAFE agreement is going to get number of shares associated with the evaluation with a 20% or 15% discount. Not only that, there is also another tax law, which is called Section 1202, that enables the early investors to have 10x, free capital, zero capital gain. So if someone invests $100,000 in a startup, then after 5 years decides to sell it, and that is $1 million. So $1,100,000 is going to be tax free, and that's how the venture capital. This is how we see many startups or that are there, and you pay zero tax. So that's also a good opportunity for some people that maybe have extra cash and they don't know what to do with it, and they can invest in a trusted startup.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I have one question at the end, my Bruin bear hug question, but before we move to that, any other of our guests wanted to ask a question? We probably have time for one more, because you guys have been asking excellent questions. Anybody listening have a? Okay, well, I want to hold up my little mascot here, my little Bruin bear. So when I started these podcasts a few years ago, my brother John said, Dylan, you could ask people they could give a bear hug to their favorite faculty, their favorite friend, and their favorite family. Or favorite's not even the right word, but an acknowledgement to 3 people. Nobody, like you said about going to Mars, no one does it by themselves. It's, I think, going to Mars or building a company, those are the ultimate team sports. So I love the African phrase, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you go with a team. So I wanted to give you, Ryan, a chance to have a faculty acknowledgement, a friend acknowledgement, and a family acknowledgement, people who've just helped you on your journey to this point that you might want to take a moment to acknowledge.
And yeah, thank you. And I also want to thank the Anderson family and whoever was with us, because they really worked hard, and not because maybe it was more for the learning and seeing us being succeed rather than other materialistic things, which we also, we sponsor, like people even international and domestic students, and usually the internships are paid, but they are doing way more. And I'm really proud of the team members that we have, and the Anderson family, that they really think that this is their dream and their mission. And I'm really thankful of everyone from Anderson in our team, and also the other Anderson people that are helping us. And many of them are here too.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I also have the little Mars with me too. So you show that. So this is like a map of the Mars in my office. So it's like we can see it.
Well, excellent. And would you like to acknowledge a faculty member who's been part of the family for you?
Yes, absolutely. Like all the family, the faculty members, including yourself, right? That were very supportive, and all the like, let's say, these classes or discussions we had, they were all trying to see us succeed, and I'm really thankful of all of them. We also have one faculty of UCLA right now here in the audience, is Professor Dev Salar. So yeah, I want to thank each and all of the professors and faculty members from UCLA.
Well, thank you, Professor Dev Salar, for being with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
And how about a friend, either from a pre-FEMBA friend or a FEMBA friend? That's because these are one of the things I observe respectfully, is how hard FEMBA students work. I mean, all MBA students, but to balance my personal life, my professional life, and add another master's degree. So very often your friends from before you start help get you through, and also the new friends that you meet. So if you were to acknowledge a friend who's been supportive of you, who might you want to acknowledge?
So first, I want to acknowledge my BCO team, and the people are in the team: Irina, Hank, Deepak, Griffin, and the BCO team, Allison, Shu, Brandon, Forrest, and Franco, who we are a team and building, like a business strategy for Opal, which is very exciting. One thing that you happen in startup, when you startup, you lose lots of friends. I know why, but I've heard that, and that's kind of true. And the Anderson helps me to build new friends, which is very good, because that startup is, part of it is financially, part of the other part is psychologically, that you are on your own, and that's it. And when you have big names, people care more about you. But when you want to build a new name, so you're on your own, and it's great to have this community, the Anderson community, to have new friends and be out of this world. So I want to thank them, and also thank my family member Audrey, Sherwin, and my parents. So for trusting us, and my friends who were the early investors, like Ovid, my cousin Ali. So they believed, just the concept, and that's very. I want to thank each and all of them, and my mentors, Dr. Naderi, Dr. Bewley, Sarvi, Sarvanos, who is his technical co-founder in our company, and she's doing lots of great work. And she knew me since childhood, so she was my sister's best friend, and that she joined the company, and she knew me, so and believed in the mission. And I want to thank all of the friends and family, and believing in someone means a lot. Like before that, I was not thinking like that, but because but when I saw that, the people that around me really likes me and wants to see me successful, that's really, very motivational. And I want to thank each and all of them. Yeah, that's and also all the, I can say, all the taxpayers in the US too, because of the NSF. So that's cool. Thank you.
Well, and thank you, because you can build a model that encourages entrepreneurship, but someone has to be bold enough and brave enough to step into the opportunity of the model. And I appreciate that America has challenges, but I also appreciate that we've figured out a few things, and we are a magnet for some of the most high aspiration people on the planet, including yourself. And that's a healthy, wonderful outcome. You know, Anderson is better because you're here. NASA is better because you're here. So, you know, thank you and your family for trusting America with your hopes and dreams, and you know, really making the next generation of the dream go forward. So we'll start to wrap it up here. I'll give the last word to you in just a second, Ryan, but everyone, thanks for listening, who are listening here live and obviously listening in the future on the recording. You know, we share success at UCLA. It's something that's important to us. We think in the next, we get ourselves in a place where we can drive change. And I was so excited this last month, knowing that I was going to get to have this conversation with Ryan. He, in my opinion, is a unicorn, right? He has that incredible ability to be articulate in multiple different domains and the perseverance to pursue excellence in multiple different domains. And people like that, when they get an MBA and start making companies, you know, it's exciting. So I've just been really looking forward, Ryan, to getting a chance to record this interview with you. And thanks everybody who's watching now and watching in the future. But last words are yours, Ryan. Anything you'd like to share with anybody as we draw to the end here?
Yeah, one note that I forgot to thank was one of my best friend, Puriya, who also was in the Ph.D. with me. He got married recently with Roya, and he's also part of the company, and that's really admirable. Dr. Deep Solar, who is a legend at UCLA and NASA too. I want to thank them. And one thing that I want to end is statement from Leonardo da Vinci, which says that I've been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. And that's true for many people at Anderson. They must do, not just put together a pitch deck and dream. So they need to build the product. And I hope that can, yeah. Well, I would be happy to see lots of great success and great companies coming out from UCLA Anderson and my friends and other people that we know.
Well, thank you. And who was the author of the quote?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, Leonardo da Vinci. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that makes it even more powerful. But that was a beautiful quote. Say it one more time. I want to hear it again. This is my inspiration for my Friday afternoon, please.
I've been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do.
Leonardo da
Vinci. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for your wonderful attention today. And Professor Divasalar, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. And
thank you.
Yeah, we were honored with your presence. And Ryan, yeah, just you have to keep us posted. That's all. I want to know about NAP. I want to know about your BCO team. And of course, I want to continue to follow what you're doing, exploring the future in space and what Opal AI Inc. and Scan to 3D and all of your endeavors include. So it's just been a pleasure today. Thank you so much.
I hope you can join, the NAP competition. In fact, that's my birthday too. I hope we can get.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
May 18th, 6 p.m. And are they going to be Zoom or are they going to be on campus this year?
On campus. So it's
okay.
On campus, and we can celebrate, after that. After that.
Excellent. And you guys are the only FEMBA team, right?
Yes, we are.
Represent. I'm sure the competition is going to be excellent with the 5 finalists. So
yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks everyone for your attention today. We appreciate it very much and look forward to interviewing some more wonderful members of our community next time. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Dylan, for the great work and great series of
It's
podcasts.
13 hours.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone.